Hey guys, my headphones on. What's going on, everybody? Let me give it just a minute and roll this intro. How are you doing? What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Can you believe we made it through another week? Let's get into it, guys. Hey guys, happy Friday. What's going on? Y'all. Hey everyone. What's going on, everybody? What happens if I do okay. Uh Hold on, let me try. I'm trying something. Uh, that doesn't. That. Hmm. That doesn't work like I wanted it to. Okay, so you already know what we're here to talk about. Y'all, it's like every year there's always going to be a housewife franchise scandal, and this is no different. Dr. Wendy and Eddie. Why? Okay, let me be serious for a second. Dr. Wendy and Eddie have been accused of some things, and we're going to get into it. Okay, here's the thing. Two were arrested after fraudulently. How do you report something stolen and then wear it all over the internet? Allegedly. But these detectives, baby, it's giving Barney Fife. And Sir was like, I mean, you love Happy Eddie? Well, good. Very good. It's good to have support. And it's good that they've got fans that support them. The allegations, I'm quite sure this probably isn't highest on the list of thefts in that area. It's certainly not, you know what I mean? I don't think they wouldn't be coming with these people if it wasn't founded. So it's good that they've got lots of support from their fan base and everything. But yeah, what it sounds like they did is no bueno. Finksburg, Carroll County, Maryland, October 10th, 2025. On April 7th, these two were arrested after fraudulently reporting a burglary and a theft. Okay. Finksburg, Carroll County, Maryland. October 10th, which is what? Today. On April 7th, 2024, Carroll County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to a residence in the 1900 block of Turnberry Court for a report of a burglary and a theft. Upon arrival, they met the homeowners who stated that they returned from vacation to find that their home had been entered and numerous items had been stolen. They reported approximately 80 items of jewelry, luxury goods, clothing, and shoes were stolen, worth a total of $200,000. During the investigation, detectives found that over 20,000 of the items reported stolen had been returned by the homeowners to the locations the items were purchased. Further, detectives found images of a homeowner wearing jewelry that had been reported stolen during the burglary that took place. On October 9th, 2025, the investigation was presented to the grand jury and the homeowners were indicted. A search warrant was issued for the residence and the arrest warrants were issued for the homeowners, who were identified as Edward Osefo, a 41-year-old male living at Turnberry Court address, and Wendy Osefo, a 41-year-old female also living at Turnberry Court address. They were both taken into custody, transported to Carroll County Central Booking, where they were formally charged with multiple counts related to fraud. All individuals are presumed innocent of pending charges until proven guilty in a court of law. On October 10th, 2025, Edward and Wendy posted bond and were released. Okay. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Okay.
Yep. Good afternoon. I'm Carroll County Sheriff Jim DeWeese. Alongside of me is Carroll County State's Attorney Haven Shoemaker, and to his left is Mr. Alan Culver. He is special counsel to the Carroll County State's Attorney. We are here to announce the indictment and arrest of Wendy and Edward Osefo of the 1900 block of Turnberry Court in Finksburg.
Turn your volume up. I feel like this maybe it's low for me. Okay, are we good?
Maryland, both Wendy and Edward are reality actors in the series The Real Housewives of Potomac.
But this is not a acting show. This is not part of the show. This is for real, okay?
Maryland, which is filmed partially from their residence in Finksburg, Maryland, an hour away. On April 7th, 2024, at approximately 10:13 p.m., deputies responded to a residence in the 1900 block of Turnberry Court in Finksburg for a reported burglary. Edward Osefo called 911 to report the burglary. Edward and Wendy Osefo, both from Finksburg, live at that address, and they have 3 school-age children. They reported that their home had been burglarized sometime between April 2nd and April 7th of 2024 while they were on vacation in Jamaica. The house would have been vacant at the time with no one house sitting. No one had a key to the residence, according to the Osefos. The Osefos claimed that designer handbags and jewelry valued at more than $200,000 were missing from the primary residence bedroom upstairs. Responding patrol deputies handled the burglary according to policy and made contact with investigators with my major crimes unit to assist because of the dollar amount that was stolen. Crime scene investigators came to the scene the night of the report to process the scene for fingerprints, DNA, and anything of evidentiary value. And while I'm there, I want to thank the state police. They actually responded, and the superintendent of the state police, Colonel Butler, I want to thank him for working with us on the case and providing resources. It should be noted that the residence does have interior and exterior surveillance cameras. None of the cameras picked up any motion or indicated a breach inside of the house. Cameras also did not pick up any suspicious activity outside of the residence during the time the Osefos were away from the residence. Detectives also checked surveillance cameras from neighbors. No evidence of a break-in or suspicious activity was noted at the Osefos' residence. Patrol deputies and detectives found no signs of forced entry or physical evidence of a burglary, such as footprints, fingerprints, or any entry point. The Osefos alleged that the burglar came in through a second-story window into the master bedroom. There was no evidence inside the residence that someone made an attempt to get into the residence through that particular window. No evidence indicated that anyone attempted to enter the house. The bedroom upstairs where the theft occurred was ransacked. The mattress was thrown off of the bed onto the floor to give an indication that a burglary did occur. Initial responding deputies again called our investigators because of the high dollar amount that was stolen. After the initial report, following days, we made contact with 3 separate insurance companies that the Osefos used to insure their property, which is common with this loss that this type of loss that detectives actually communicate with insurance companies to share information. In the days following the initial report, the Osefos contacted detectives several times to provide additional information about the alleged burglary, evidence, and missing items. They also reported the loss to their insurance company. Again, the Osefos alleged and claimed that just over $200,000 in items were stolen from the burglary. Weeks after the alleged burglary, detectives discovered Mrs. Osefo had posted photos on social media wearing jewelry that matched items she had reported stolen, specifically a diamond anniversary band. Detectives were provided receipts by the Osefos for the loss of items that they had purchased dating as far back as 2018. On those receipts were email addresses. We had become suspicious that this was a false claim. On those receipts were email addresses, which detectives authored search and seizure warrants so that they could access both the Osefos' email accounts to attempt to acquire more evidence. The emails provided additional evidence that indicated this was a fraudulent claim, specifically Edward's communication with Wendy, and I quote, "Are there additional high-value items we can add to this inventory list? I'm trying to get the total to exceed $423,000, which is our policy maximum." Over the next several months, detectives worked diligently to verify the information provided and to locate the reported stolen property. It was later confirmed that Mrs. Osefo had returned several of those same items valued at over $20,000 to the place that she originally purchased prior to the alleged burglary. We can see as far back as 2018 and several items that had been purchased in 18 and receipts supplied to the insurance company, only those items had been returned to the purchaser or to the store that she purchased them from during the window in 2018 of the return policy. Meaning if it was a 90-day return policy back in 2018, she actually returned those items within that 90-day period. Those receipts were supplied to us, and those receipts were supplied to her insurance company and were alleged by the Osefos to be stolen in the original burglary. Based on the thorough investigation conducted by detectives in my office in coordination with the Carroll County State's Attorney's Office, it became clear that the Osefos had fabricated the burglary and filed a false report and attempted to fraud their insurance company. On October 29th, 2025, the case was presented to a Carroll County grand jury, which returned indictments against both Edward and Wendy Osefo on multiple counts of fraud and false reporting. Both individuals were located and taken into custody at their Turnberry Court address on the afternoon of October 9th, yesterday, by the Carroll County Sheriff's Office detectives. Deputies executed a search and seizure warrant at the residence during the arrest. An additional 15 items that were believed to be reported stolen by the Osefos during the initial report were also located during that search and seizure warrant. Those items included jewelry and high-end handbags. The Osefos were booked into the Carroll County Detention Center and later released on $50,000 bonds, on $50,000 bond. Real quick, I'd like to acknowledge the work that my office did, Detective Richie Harbaugh. My detectives, they're just absolutely amazing. Richie's one of the finest detectives on the planet. High praise for him. Also, the Carroll County State's Attorney's Office, Mr. Shoemaker, Mr. Culver, and Melissa Hockensmith is who handled the case for the State's Attorney's Office and has been working with us diligently on this case. I'll now turn it over to the State's Attorney if he has some comments, and then we'll answer any questions you guys may have.
Okay, good afternoon. In response to the various media inquiries that I've gotten today in connection with this matter, I've indicated to everybody, and I want to emphasize it again, as a threshold matter, that all persons are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So I want to get that out front. As the sheriff indicated yesterday, the defendants were indicted by the grand jury for Carroll County in connection with Wendy Osefo. It was 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and 1 count of false statement to a police officer. They posted bail this morning. So also, in addition to what the sheriff alluded to a few moments ago, I'd like to note that the investigation of this matter, and I certainly want to give props to Detective Harbaugh, who worked in close proximity with my Deputy State's Attorney, Melissa Hockensmith, in connection with this matter. But the investigation determined that on April 8th, 2024, the Osefos initiated 3 separate insurance claims for the alleged burglary and theft that occurred at their residence. And those were against Travelers Insurance, Jewelers Mutual Insurance, and Homesite Insurance Company for their alleged losses. Mr. Osefo gave recorded statements to 2 of the insurance companies regarding a list of stolen items. He was also asked whether any of the items on the list had been returned, which he denied. He was asked if he had other insurance but failed to disclose to Homesite and Jewelers that he was also making a claim with Travelers. For a Homesite insurance, both Edward and Wendy signed a sworn statement of loss, which was notarized. The total amount of loss claimed on the sworn statement of loss was $2,500 for the damage to the building itself and $450,000 estimated for contents and personal property. He included an inventory of reported stolen items along with receipts for the purchase of most of the items on the inventory. That claim was denied due to the failure to disclose the policy with Travelers. And in the original claim submitted on April 8th, 2024 to Travelers, Edward is alleged to have confirmed that he and his wife were wearing their anniversary bands when the loss occurred. However, Edward called Travelers on April 10th, 2024, and said he needed to update their claim, stating that his wife's gold diamond anniversary band was missing. So that same day, Travelers settled the claim for $25,380, which included the replacement price of the band, which was $4,500. After the initial reported claim on April 11th, both Wendy and Edward signed and submitted letters to Jewelers Mutual claiming the burglary occurred and items were reported stolen. At the request of Jewelers Mutual, the Osefos provided an initial list of 57 stolen items. Included on the list was Wendy's gold anniversary band that was reported in the Travelers claim. On April 22nd, Edward was interviewed during a recorded call and did not make any mention of the jewelry claim or payout with Travelers. So essentially, I know that the burden will be on my office to show that Edward and Wendy conspired to make fraudulent statements and provided misleading information in support of making the 3 insurance claims for financial gain. I'd also note that some folks may view insurance fraud as an innocuous crime since it only affects insurance companies. That's certainly not true. Insurance fraud affects all of us in the form of increased premiums that we all bear, so we take those offenses very seriously. Thanks.
What do you got, anything?
What was it that initially made you suspicious again? Can you describe what was it that, I mean, was it when your officers went and saw no damage to the house? Or was it when they started digging into this morgue?
I think a little of both, because we had responded there with patrol deputies, which is customary for a response like that. But when patrol deputies got there and started walking around and looking at the evidence, they immediately called investigators who showed up at the scene, primarily because it was a dollar amount issue. But when deputies got there, they started digging into the house a little bit. And as good cops do and detectives like them, were a little suspicious when they got there, but they started working it like a traditional burglary. So they were treating it like it was a real burglary. As they started to navigate the next couple of weeks, starting to speak with the insurance companies and share information, they became more suspicious that this may be a fraudulent claim or a fabricated incident. But it was really when a couple of weeks later they saw some of they specifically the ring that the state's attorney mentions, the diamond wedding band that they observed in a social media post. That is when they started realizing that this was likely a fabricated burglary or a false insurance claim.
Is it common that a burglar would enter a second floor bedroom window?
I don't think there's commonalities anywhere, but I think that in answer to your question, I've seen this particular residence. It would be extraordinarily difficult to get up to that second story and go through a bathroom off of the master bedroom to get into the residence. If a burglar knew exactly what they were looking for, they would have just kicked in the front door or found another entry point, path of least resistance, and that certainly wasn't the path of least resistance to get in there. There was really nothing that indicated around the window that anybody had come into the residence. We did note that the grass had just recently been cut. My detectives actually traveled up the side, walked out on the roof, and walked back into the bathroom, only to track stuff inside into the bathroom, asphalt from their shoes or debris. And I'm pretty sure the burglar didn't take a broom and clean up after themselves if they in fact tossed the room like was staged during the burglary. So, a lot of those things just we picked up on, but again, we treated it like it was a burglary and followed the evidence until we found out that this was likely a false report.
So I was trying to understand how much of these items they collected on. Like, did they collect double, twice from the insurance company and from the stores?
I believe that's the case, I believe they tried to file claims with there's 3 separate insurance companies that they use to insure specific items, and I believe they tried to claim specifically the diamond wedding band twice. They did get paid out, as the state's attorney said, for the diamond wedding band, which was a little over $25,000. We believe we have that diamond wedding band after we executed the search and seizure warrant yesterday.
What did they tell you? Did they make statements or
They've made no statements to us whatsoever. The only information that we've gotten from the SFOs is their recorded statements to the insurance companies.
And were they in any financial despair or problems, or do you know why this may have happened? Obviously, it was a financial.
I don't know. You can only speculate that they were in some financial issues. We do know that they were still filming out of the residence for this particular reality show. And that was active. I think they were in season 10, I believe. I don't watch the show, so I can only tell you what my detectives are telling me. So, do you watch the show?
I've seen it, but I don't.
You don't want to admit it? Okay. What else do you have?
I think that's about it. I don't know where this goes from here. I mean, it goes through the normal
Sure, it goes.
prosecutorial process.
Yeah, it goes right to the circuit court, and the state's attorney's office will then, they'll do a lot of pretrial stuff prior to this case actually going to a trial, if that's however it is.
I can
So.
tell you right now that there's a hearing on council where you're apprised of your right to an attorney and that sort of thing. It's tentatively scheduled for November 7th.
And the issue about the diamond, it was earrings you found on social media, or
It was a ring,
a ring?
yeah, wedding band that she
How
wore.
did that come about? Was that, were you just scouring social media for matches, or, how did?
Well, I mean, they're on social media an awful lot. So, I mean, they're basically living their life on social media or on TV. I think because we became suspicious, and I do believe that the insurance companies became suspicious as well, their investigators start to scour social media and look at specific items that Mrs. Osefo regularly wore, and it wouldn't have been difficult to see some of those items on her after this incident took place.
You think her status might have contributed to the investigation? I mean, had it just been a normal housewife, would she have been discovered in this manner, you think, or would this have just flown right through?
No, I don't think we would have treated it any differently at all. I mean, it was a high dollar amount that they were alleging that was stolen, and so if there was in fact someone burglarizing residents in that particular area or any area of the county, we would have treated it that way. You know, crime in this county is very, very low, and so my detectives, when they get a case like this, will work it very diligently to find whoever burglarized the residence. But if in fact we believe that it's a false report, we'll investigate it the same way. So I don't care if she's a real housewife, fake housewife, or whatever she is, we would have handled it the same way regardless of who she was.
Finally, you mentioned the charges that she was facing. Is he facing the same charges?
Correct, yeah.
Well, they're a little different because he is facing 9 counts of insurance fraud. And let me put my glasses back on. 9 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and 1 count of false statement to a police officer.
And that was regarding which statement?
Yeah, exactly. It's-
That's, okay.
You good? Anything else? You got anything texted in? You're good? Okay. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it.
The number, the address, Turnberry.
Okay, so I'm looking at the comments and I saw this must, maybe they made a mistake. It's not a mistake. If you've ever had to file an insurance claim, how can you make the mistake of filing for the same thing 2 or 3 times? Just because you have 2 insurance policies, you cannot double, triple dip on an insurance policy. You also cannot claim that something was stolen and you have it in your jewelry box, or you have it in your purse, or you have it in a storage unit. You know what I'm saying? If they find out, they find out. And you know what I'm saying? Like, when you pay as much as we're now paying for insurance, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys love paying your insurance every month or every year, but homeowners insurance, I feel like in the past 6 years, it hasn't just doubled, it's like tripled. Homeowners insurance is expensive. And it's because of things like this that make it go up. Um, me personally, I don't care what my neighbor does, but if my neighbor's doing something that's going to make insurance go up in my area, I would have a problem with it. Just don't steal. If you're rich like that, then why do you need to pretend like things were stolen and they're already paid for? Why would you claim things as stolen that you returned to the store? That's trash. I mean, that's fake rich. If you're rich, you're rich. If you're wealthy, you're wealthy. If you have, you have. If you don't have, you don't have. You know what I'm saying? If you're not rich, you're not rich. If you can't afford, you can't afford. It's just because trust me, if you if you claim an insurance policy for something, it could be $2,500. Go ahead and double dip and see what they do. Go ahead and double dip and see what they do. These people claimed almost $400,000 worth of insurance claims, and they're gonna have they got themselves a little bit of problems on their hands because they were over there, like the sheriff said, they're in a very quiet community that doesn't have a lot of crime. What would make you think that this was a good idea? You know what I'm saying? If you're in a place that maybe like New York City where lots of stuff is happening, they're very busy, they've got lots of homicides, robbery is happening every minute. Um, or any major city, I'm not trying to pick on New York, but just a major city where robbery is common and the police force is stretched to the limit and the insurance companies already factor in a certain amount of risk. In a very affluent community, you have almost a $500,000 heist from someone's house. You're going to think we need to get to the bottom of this because we don't want all of our wealthy customers having to deal with kick kick door in robberies. Is this something that's going to be happening on a regular basis? They're assessing things like this for additional risk and also to protect the community. So anyway, let's look at this. This is something that was posted on Facebook. So I think let's look at this because I think this was, I just want to see what this is actually. This is some memorandum in support of the state's position at defendant's bail. So this was something that they posted at the defendant's bail review. Let's just take a look at this and see what this is about. There's supposed to be some additional court documents, but I have not been able to get my hands on them. But let's see what's going on here. See what's going on. So this, hold on, let's see. All right, this is some memorandum. So now comes now the state of Maryland buying through, let me make this big, buying through its attorney, Melissa Hawkinsmith, deputy state's attorney for Carroll County, and states the following. On Thursday, October 9th, the defendant was indicted by a grand jury for Carroll County on 7 counts of insurance fraud, 8 counts of conspiracy, insurance fraud, and 1 count of false statements to police officers. An arrest warrant was issued and bail was set at $50,000. The allegation in the case are that April 7th, Carroll County Sheriff's Office deputies responded to blank in Finksburg, Carroll County, Maryland, for a call reported burglary. The deputy was met by the homeowners, Edward and Wendy, who reported to him that they left to go on a trip to Jamaica on April 2nd and returned on April 7th at approximately 10 p.m. They found their bedroom and both their closets to be ransacked, and several designer bags and jewelry had been stolen. So he said that the cameras did not show any kind of disturbances at all. Whomever broke into the house, allegedly they came in through some sort of like a back window and up to a second floor back window, which they said they found kind of not normal to occur. So I guess that was another red flag, right? Um, let's see. The deputy was met by the homeowners, Edward and Wendy, who reported that they went on a trip to Jamaica on April 2nd. They came back on the 7th at approximately 10 p.m., found their bedroom and both closets to be ransacked, and several designer bags and jewelry had been stolen. The state's evidence would show that purported point of entry into the home to be the owner's bedroom window on the second floor. The window looks onto a small roof that was about 9 feet from the deck. There were no ladders or deck furniture. Hold on a second. No ladders or deck furniture. Let's see. Was Deck furniture was undisturbed and no indication that anyone had been on the deck. The Osefos stated that they did not touch anything prior to the police's arrival. Uh, there was a screen with damage laying on the roof, and the window was not locked. To go in or out of that window, once one has to step onto the toilet. The toilet lid was down and no debris on it. When the sheriff's office personnel stepped onto the roof and back into the home, they tracked roof grit back into the house. The Osefos had an ADT system and ring camera. The Osefos activated the ADT alarm upon leaving for vacation. During the time they were away, there was no motion detected inside the residence. There was activity such as package deliveries on the ring camera that were monitored remotely by the Osefos. The investigation determined that on April 8th, the Osefos initiated 3 separate insurance claims for the burglary and theft: travelers insurance, jewelers mutual insurance, home site insurance company for the alleged losses suffered while they were away. Edward Osefo gave recorded statements to 2 of the insurance companies regarding a list of stolen items he provided. He was asked whether any of the items on the list had been returned, which he denied. He was also asked if he had other insurance but failed to disclose home site and jewelers, that he was also making a claim with travelers insurance. For home site, Edward and Wendy Osefo signed sworn statements of loss, which were notarized. The total amount of the loss claimed on the sworn statement of loss was $2,500 for the building and $450,000 estimated for contents and personal property. He included an inventory of reported stolen items along with receipts for purchases of most of the items on the inventory. That claim was denied due to, let me see, due to failure to disclose the policy with travelers. In the original claim submitted April 8th to travelers, Edward confirmed that he and his wife were wearing their anniversary bands when the loss occurred. However, Edward called travelers on the 10th and said he needed to update his claim. His wife's gold diamond anniversary band was missing. The same day, Travelers Insurance settled the claim for $25,000, which included a replacement price for the band at $4,500. After the initial reported claim on April 11th, both Wendy and Edward signed and submitted letters to Jewelers Mutual claiming the burglary occurred and items were reported stolen. At the request of Jewelers, the Osefos provided an initial list of 57 stolen items, including a list that Wendy's gold diamond anniversary band that was reported to travelers. On April 22nd, Edward was interviewed during a recorded call and did not make any mention of the claim or paying out. That's not a mistake. That's not, you can't do that. That's very deliberate, in my opinion. Just reading this, in my opinion, it's it's fraud with a capital F. On April 22nd, so the first policy It's like, oh my God, I got to read this again. It's crazy. Edward was interviewed during a recorded call and did not make mention of the jewelry claim or payout with travelers. Deputies were suspicious of the circumstances of the burglary and records from stores where some of the items were purchased along with social media and email accounts. Deputies were suspicious of the circumstances of the burglary and records from stores where some of the items were purchased along with social media and email accounts. Investigation determined that numerous items that the Osefos claimed were stolen had been purchased, then returned to the store for the full refund provided prior to the alleged burglary. So these are things they didn't even have in their possession anymore, but they just had receipts that they'd purchased them once upon a time, but they'd already returned them. For example, there was a Dior shirt that was listed stolen for $1,450, but the shirt was returned on January 14th, 2023. For a refund, and a Gucci leather belt that was purchased in 2018 and returned 2 weeks later for $948.70. Additionally, while reviewing social media Instagram account for Wendy Osefo, hold on. Deputies observed photos of Wendy prior to the burglary wearing a diamond anniversary band on her left finger. The ring was reported stolen in the burglary. Then, after a reported burglary on April 27th, Wendy Osefo was wearing the same ring on her left finger. The ring features multiple rows of diamonds and has a V shape on the side that separates where the rows of diamonds begin. The ring had been photographed prior to the burglary for an appraisal that matches the photo on the ring on April 27, 2024. Deputies obtained emails for the Osefos on April 12, 2024. Edward emailed the list that reportedly stolen items to Wendy. The email asked if there were any additional, so they pulled their email. Are you catching this? Deputies obtained email records. On April 12th, this ninja emails her, hey, babe, were there any additional high value items we can add to the inventory, i.e. Chanel shoes, etc.? I'm trying to get the total to exceed 423,000, which is our policy maximum. At the time of the arrest, a search and seizure warrant was executed for the Osefos' home, and deputies found at least 15 items that appear to be the same ones claimed stolen during the alleged burglary. Investigation revealed it's just sloppy. You know what I'm saying? I am not co-signing doing anything like this, but this was very sloppy of them, and they really must have thought that they lived in some sort of one-horse town that wasn't going to look up what was going on with them. They probably really thought that they lived in a town full of dummies and that these people weren't going to look in, that the insurance company wasn't going to investigate and look at their social media. And I guess they were mistaken. At the time of their arrest, okay, so they found 15 items that appear to be the items on this list, right? Investigation revealed the Osefos to be burdened by substantial debt. Edward and Wendy conspired to make fraudulent statements and provide misleading information in support of making 3 insurance claims for financial gain. All right, just a second. Let's pivot, y'all. This is embarrassing. Hold on, let me get to my watch later. You can't, I mean, look, shit happens, but I don't think that there's, for me, this is not, let's take a look at this. This is just, this is for shame. This is like a little bit of for shame. For shame, shame. Hold on a second. And I know some people say, oh, were there, was there a press conference for other housewives? I can't remember if there was a press conference for Karen Huger, but there was plenty of news coverage. And I'm not just talking about people like me, bloggers, things like that. There was news coverage when Karen Huger um, got arrested, and there was definitely news coverage regarding that body worn camera footage that was a fool. When Teresa Giudice, gosh, was she the first one that went to jail? Her and her husband. She might have been one of the first. Then that lady out there in Utah, um, Phaedra's husband. I mean, I don't know that they did a press conference about that when Apollo went to jail. But as this becomes more common, I'm sure there will be. When some of the OG housewives went to jail, housewives was a thing, but housewives, even though maybe the viewership isn't as big today as it was at one time, one of the reasons why Teresa Giudice got caught the way she did and her husband ending up getting deported, Joe, was because the judge that had just done their bankruptcy, his wife was watching Real Housewives, and she remarked to her husband, "Didn't you just close their case for bankruptcy?" And Teresa was going into a safe. Do you guys remember when season 1 Jersey, and she was doing kind of like the Goodfellas thing, and he was asking her how much money she wanted, and she was like, like that much, and he goes into a safe and gets her a bunch of money, and that immediately opened up another case that put her under investigation. And maybe by season 2, season 3, the Judices were in court and going to jail. So this is, it's, and this is how long ago now? Because they were babies and now the kids are grown. More and more as these women are celebrities. 15 years ago, 10 years ago, the Real Housewives weren't considered celebrities as much as they are today. So they're definitely more high profile today than they were a long time ago, even though, like, to us, if you're a Housewives fan, they're celebrities to us. They're Bravo celebrities and all of that. But yeah, I'm sure the next one will get, girl Peter is a housewife. Girl, I was standing outside the federal courthouse in Charlotte trying to talk to Peter when he got his sentence for his bid down there in federal court for all of his shenanigans of not paying people properly. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's get into this right here. Let's hear what they have to say. This is Wendy Osefo and husband arrested on 16 charges in Maryland. Let's get into this. I saw this, and then let's see what's going on over here.
Yes, we do. Candace Dillard Bassett.
Good morning. Put it in the picture. Hey, Candace Dillard Bassett. Hey, what? Hey,
Candace Dillard Bassett.
We got a real singer in the house. Good morning. Hello. Yes.
Whoa.
Good morning.
Oh, I got
Let's
that.
save that so we can play that at
That
the
was
top of
better
every
than coffee.
celebrity dish.
That was better than
God bless
coffee.
you.
My goodness.
How have you been? You look beautiful.
Yes.
All right, let's get to this part right here.
Housewives of Potomac star Dr. Wendy Osefo and her husband Eddie have been booked for criminal fraud charges. It's literally just into our newsroom. I know that you're good girlfriends with her, Candace. According to the documents so far, TMZ obtained, the star is facing 16 charges, including 7 felonies. Osefo has been charged with falsely misleading info in her, we don't know where the $300 comes in, but it involves $300.
Excessive of $300.
Yes, and she also faces 1 misdemeanor count of making a false statement to police. We know that's very serious. The couple were booked last night in Westminster, Maryland, in Carroll County. She's been on The Real Housewives for 5 years. Our first listen, Candace, What are you thinking?
I am floored. I am shocked. I'm sad. You know, it feels to me, we've just, gone through the Karen Huger of it all. Karen just came home. Karen paid her debt to society, but one might opine that, perhaps Karen was made an example of. And I am now, as I'm literally just getting this news with you all, that's my first thought is $300 and we're arresting a mother and a father, business owners, entrepreneurs. We don't know what the charges are for, but we know that the Osefos have a very successful marijuana business. They are providing jobs and opportunities for people of color in the area, in the DMV. And so my first thought is, are they being targeted? Is this something that we should be thinking about? And I obviously I know the Osefos. I know their children. I know her family, and I'm heartbroken. Like I'm shaking because we're just finding this. I can't imagine.
When was the last time you spoke with Dr. Wendy?
Very recently, like we text all the time. So she never let on that anything was wrong. I know Eddie and Chris were just speaking via text. So I'm shocked, and it just feels like someone is out to get the girls. Like how are two women from the same show that features African American women in the climate we're living in today, where people are being picked up and snatched off the street for frivolous nonsense. I would like to see everything before I make my final thoughts.
TMZ did say more details are to come.
Yeah, and once we get those details, we'll share them with you. You mentioned Karen, and we have not spoken with her since, but you may have.
I have, yeah.
How's she doing?
She's doing really well. I spoke to her, oh, there she is. I spoke to her right after she was released, and she's doing well. She's resting, she's recuperating. She was out amongst the people recently, which
Potomac star Wendy Osefo and her husband, Edward,
Oh, sorry. I don't know if you heard me. I might have been on mute. I said, let's pivot.
were arrested on charges of fraud. Access Hollywood can confirm. Wendy faces 16 total charges, including 7 felonies and 9 misdemeanors, including making a false statement to an officer, while her husband faces 18 total charges, 9 felonies, 9 misdemeanors, according to court docs obtained by Access Hollywood. On Thursday, the reality stars were taken into custody and were later released on bond Friday morning. According to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office, the charges stem from the couple reporting a burglary in April 2024. At the time, the pair reportedly told police that while they were on vacation, approximately 80 items of luxury goods were stolen from their home, which reportedly was worth more than $200,000. But during the investigation, detectives allegedly found that over $20,000 of the reported stolen items were returned back to the store by the owner. And detectives also claimed to have found photos of Wendy wearing jewelry that had been reported stolen after the alleged burglary took place. Access Hollywood has reached out for comment. The news of the couple's arrest.
Oh, wait a second. Girl, they're getting all those HD pictures. Okay, hold on a second.
Access Hollywood
Girl,
has reached out for comment.
Whoever did her makeup on that day needs their makeup bag taken.
The news of the
And this
couple's
Karen
arrest
Huger picture is horrible. Oh
comes
my
on the heels
goodness.
of Wendy's post.
They went and pulled out. I don't even know where they got these pictures from, but whoever the
Star
producer
Karen
was,
Huger's
my Lord.
prison release after she served 6 months for back-to-back DUIs. Access Hollywood's Housewives Nightcap podcast just spoke with Wendy last week, and she talked about if she would be open to having Karen return on the hit show following her release.
I think that's up to her. That's her story to tell, and if she wants to come back on the platform and tell her story, then absolutely. Yeah, that's up to her. I've never been opposed to it, and I never will be. I think I'm not that's not my character to be opposed to anyone coming back on this platform. And to be honest, it's way above my pay grade, and I don't make those decisions. So, whoever walks in those doors, I welcome them with open arms.
Yeah. Okay. Look, this is, oh, let me turn this off in my ear. Okay. So, not a mistake. I'm sorry. Someone can think that people are trying to get people all like, look, at the end of the day, this is the deal. If you're driving drunk and you get arrested for drunk driving, guess what's going to happen? You're drunk driving. You know what I'm saying? That's it. That's all. If you call the police and say, hey guys, can you come over to my house? My bathroom window's open and I think someone came in and they got all my good bags, my shoes, they stole some of my designer clothes. Can you guys come and take a report, please? And then you call your insurance company and you file not one claim, not two claims, file 3 claims for the same things, and also file claims and provide receipts for items that when they check your receipt, they go to Dior or they go to Neiman Marcus or they go to Bloomingdale's and they check on a receipt for a $5,000 bag and they say, okay, yes, that is a valid purchase, but you know what? A month after this was purchased, this was actually returned. Who's trying to get you? When you call and you open a police report, how can you formulate out your mouth that someone's trying to come get somebody? I'm sorry. I'm sure ma'am is probably reviewing her statement now and realizing that didn't sound smart, because at the end of the day, baby, when you get to be old enough and grown enough to know how these things work, they're investigating based on a file you opened. They're investigating you on a situation. Karen Huger wasn't enticed and drugged. Karen Huger was over to the bar or over to a party, drank too much, got in her Maserati and wrapped it around a tree. She's lucky to be alive. Karen Huger is lucky to be alive. She's lucky she did not kill somebody. Nobody told the Osefos to call Carroll County Sheriff's Department and file a claim. I'm sorry. How do you report? If you know one ring that's stolen, you know if your anniversary band is gone. And if you know that you can't hang with not wearing your good piece of jewelry, your good anniversary band, that it's going to hurt for you too much to not wear it and pretend like you don't have it anymore, then you might not want to report it stolen or missing, because these days, insurance companies, this is a cautionary tale for a lot of people. If you think you want to pull off a fraud, you better not be reporting on your social media, because they're going to be watching and looking, just like when you got a claim, they're down the street when you say you fell off your roof and you broke your back and then you're outside roller skating, or you're over on your bike, or you just jumped on your Harley. They're going to try to figure out why they're paying you. Meanwhile, you say you can't walk and you can't make it to work and you bumped your head. Meanwhile, you're over there at the bike rally or over there at the trail ride doing the boots on the ground. Okay? You can't be mad because people investigate a claim that you called and invited people to look into. I'm sure there are plenty of documents that you sign when you are initiating a claim that you are agreeing that it is okay for them to investigate the full claim so that they can determine their loss. Oh, Bible lady reminded me. Okay. Okay. Period. All right, you guys. Let's get up off of Wendy and Edward, because they got a court date, and we'll be keeping our eye on this. This is some Real Housewives TT. Period. I mean, Real Housewives never disappoint. I mean, at the end of the day, they're human just like the rest of us. Somebody else is getting some insurance fraud paperwork right now or bonding out of jail. So this is nothing new. These are just some people who do it on Bravo. Okay? They're just doing it on Bravo. So we're not trying to drag them. Don't feel any types of way. At the end of the day, they're just like the rest of us. They're over there trying to make $1 out of 15 cents, but obviously didn't think it all the way out. I think they thought they were in a very sleepy little bedroom community of wealthy folk, and they were just going to take their good black word for it or their good rich word for it. And baby, that was not the case. That was not the case on that day. No. Okay. Yes, of course you don't. Of course. Okay. And also, we at Bougie Gang know there's some things you just don't talk about, right? You got to take that to the grave. Who talks about that type of thing? Okay. Who would talk about that kind of thing? We're dragging. Really? No. Friday Child, stop it, girl. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I got another story to talk to you guys about. Hold on. I thought this was interesting. Hold on. Since we're talking about some fraud, we may as well get into this too, okay? I think you guys are going to be like, "Stop it." Say what? Hold on. Let me find it. Cuz I was looking at this earlier. And then I had to go pull the paperwork, y'all. Just a second. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, let me take all this down. Good luck, Wendy. Wendy, we're going to be watching, okay, boo? Wendy, we're going to be watching, and it's going to be all right, hun. Okay? You and your husband are in the same boat, and I'm sure y'all got this whole thing together, okay? Let's get into this. Okay, right here. Y'all.
Early first on 48 federal court documents obtained by WAFF show a former Huntsville pastor is going to plead guilty to federal wire fraud charges after he spent hundreds of thousands of church dollars on luxury items for himself. WAFF 48's Faith Delp has more on his purchases and his charges.
Adrian Davis was the senior pastor at the now closed Huntsville branch of All Nations Worship Assembly. New court documents show that Davis used the church's money from around 2018 to around 2020 to buy cars, shoes, and much more. This is Davis back in 2019, during the time he is accused of taking funds from the ANWA church. Court documents say he bought a $30,000 Audi and $45,000 GMC SUV with the church's money during this time. They also say Davis used the ANWA church's fund to pay off over $100,000 of his own credit card debt. Court documents say some of the purchases on that credit card include a $4,900 purchase from Louis Vuitton and more than $18,000 in jewelry. The documents also say he used the church's money to pay his mother's mortgage. In addition to the wire fraud charges, Davis is going to plead guilty to filing a false tax return. Court documents show in 2021, Davis filed a false tax return stating he made around $138,000 in 2020, but he knew he received more than that. Court records show Davis has signed a plea agreement, pledging to plead guilty to federal wire fraud and filing a false tax return. As part of the agreement, he will have to pay back over $400,000 to the church and another $100,000 back to the IRS. He is also facing up to 23 years in prison across all charges. The U.S. Attorney's Office and Davis's attorney both declined to comment when I reached out earlier today. Now, Davis is scheduled to be arraigned right here in federal court on October 23rd. Reporting in Huntsville, Faith Delp, 48 News, on your side.
Y'all, hold on a second, okay? All right, let me pull this up. Okay. Where am I? Okay. Y'all, let me take a minute to thank our sponsor today. We do have a sponsor. Thank you to TTP Body, you guys.
TTP Body. After years of trying countless products that didn't deliver, Los Angeles native Tamara Palmer decided to create her own. The result? TTP Body, where beauty and soul are nurtured together. Fuel your follicles, strengthen your strands, and let your hair flourish with the Ready, Set, Grow Hair Growth Oil. Kissed by an Angel, designed to deeply replenish and protect. Forever Young Body Butter. Indulge your skin with buttery richness and all-day moisture. Enjoy the Detox Me Face Mask. From scalp to skin, deep, clean, bold shine. TTP Body has you covered from head to toe. Glow is just one click away. Hydrate, radiate, repeat. Discover TTP Body today.
Guys, make sure to use Bougie 10 on your order to get 10% off of your purchase. Let's get into it, guys. So I just showed you the video of Pastor Adrian Davis out of Huntsville. Baby, let's get into what it says he did specifically. So he's actually just going in on a plea. He's in the plea of guilty. He's busted. Basically, he's already busted and he is going ahead and copping to the charges. And what are the charges? This was filed in the Alabama Northeastern Division. Adrian Davis, who was former lead pastor at ANWA, and also served as marketing consultant for the church as compensated for his services at ANWA. Davis received a salary plus a percentage. So we're going into count 1, which is wire fraud. All right. Let's see. The U.S. attorney charges at all times material to this information. All Nations Worship Assembly has a church in Huntsville, Alabama, within the Northern District of Alabama. Adrian D. Davis was the lead pastor at ANWA, and he also served as marketing consultant for ANWA. As compensation for his services to ANWA, Davis received salary and a personage. Count 1, wire fraud. The factual allegations in paragraph 1 and 2 of this information are realleged as though fully set forth herein. Between 2018 and 2020, within the Northern District of Alabama and elsewhere, the defendant, Adrian D. Davis, with intent to defraud, knowingly devised and intended to devise a scheme and artifice to defraud ANWA out of money and funds, and to obtain money and funds from ANWA by means of materially false and fraudulent pretenses, representation, and promises. And this was the lead pastor. Manners and means. It was part of the scheme that beginning in and around 2018, Davis began using ANWA funds without authority for his personal benefit. Although ANWA authorized Davis to receive a salary and parsonage, ANWA did not authorize Davis to use ANWA for personal expenses. It was further part of the scheme that in 2018, Davis used ANWA funds to purchase an Audi A7 vehicle in the amount of $30,920. And he spent more than $4,000 on miscellaneous entertainment and retail items not approved by ANWA. It was further part of the scheme that in 2019, Davis used ANWA funds to purchase a 2016 GMC Yukon in the amount of $45,982, and he spent more than $31,000 on miscellaneous entertainment retail items not approved by ANWA. Davis also used more than $10,000 of ANWA funds to pay for a mortgage on a home for his mother. While ANWA approved a parsonage for Davis, it did not approve paying a mortgage on a separate home for Davis's mother. Finally, Davis used ANWA funds to make 41 payments to American Express totaling $117,000 to pay off Davis's personal credit cards. Purchases that David made on this card that ANWA funds paid off include $4,970.15 from Louis Vuitton and $5,300 purchase from Flight Club, a shoe store in New York City. It was further part of the scheme that in 2020, Davis used ANWA funds to pay off a Synchrony Bank credit card in the amount of $18,000 he had used to purchase jewelry. And he spent more than $7,000 on miscellaneous entertainment and retail items not approved by ANWA. Davis also used more than $14,000 of ANWA funds to pay for a mortgage on a home for his mother. That was in the year of 2020. Finally, Davis used ANWA funds to make 44 payments to American Express totaling $151,000 to pay off Davis's personal credit card. Purchases that Davis made on the card, the ANWA funds paid off include $29,000 from Hublot, $28,000 from Peter Marco, $6,022.50 from Louis Vuitton. It was further part of the scheme that totaled Davis used more than $400,000 of ANWA funds on personal purchases without authorization. Okay. On or about October 19th, 2020, within the Northern District of Alabama and elsewhere, the defendant, for the purpose of executing the above described scheme and artifice, did knowingly transmit and cause to be transmitted in interstate commerce by means of wire communication certain signs and signals and communication that is defendant Adrian D. Davis caused an interstate wire communication between Alabama and other states to be made for electronic transfer of funds, to wit $13,663.14 payment from ANWA's bank account at Redstone Federal Credit Union ending in 981, American Express to pay off personal credit cards ending in 91007, all in violation of Title 18 U.S. Code Section 1343. Count 2, filing false tax returns. On or about March 29th, 2021, the Northern District of Alabama and elsewhere, Adrian D. Davis willfully made, subscribed, filed, caused to be filed with the Internal Revenue Service a false United States individual income tax return form 1040 for the year of 2020, which was verified by a written declaration that was made under the penalties of perjury and which Davis did not believe to be true and correct as every material matter. The tax return reported that Davis received $138,621 total income, whereas Davis knew he received a total of in excess of $138,621, all in violation of Title 26 U.S. Code 7206. Notice of forfeiture. The United States further charges the allegations of paragraphs 1 through 17 of this information are realleged and incorporated by reference as those set forth fully herein for the purpose of alleged forfeiture of United States pursuant to the provisions of Title 18 United States Code 981 and 28 United States Code Section 2461 pursuant to Rule 32.2. The defendant is hereby notified that pursuant to 18 United States Code Section 981 and 982 and 28 United States Code, Adrian D. Davis, upon conviction of count 1 of this information, shall forfeit to the United States any property, real or personal, that constitutes or derived from directly or indirectly proceeds traceable to the commission of the said violations, including but not limited to the forfeiture, money, judgment representing the amounts of proceeds obtained as a result of the offenses alleged. If any of the above describes forfeitable property as a result of any of the acts or omission of the defendant cannot be located upon the exercise of due diligence, has been transferred or sold or deposited with a third party, has been placed beyond a jurisdiction of the court, has been substantially diminished in value, has been commingled with other property which cannot be divided without difficulty, the United States shall be entitled to forfeit or substitute property pursuant to Title 21, United States Code Section 853, all of these things. Okay. But the spoiler alert on this is that Sir has already pled guilty. Sir went ahead and just pled guilty. Let me see if I have that in front of me. He has accepted a plea, and let me see if I can pull it up. Just a second, guys. Okay. There is a posted plea agreement, but he's basically copped to, I'm not going to say he's copped to everything. I haven't finished reading this whole thing. Let's see. There is a court date. Let me tell you when that is, and then maybe we'll see what is finalized. He is going to be entering in his guilty plea. He has an arraignment on October 23rd at 9:30. So definitely going to keep my eye on this. You know, federal court, we're not going to be able to see it. But we will definitely get the updates. But we'll circle back around this. Let's say tomorrow and do the plea agreement. What he is basically going to be claiming guilty and what his sentence could look like. But you heard in the news report that he could be looking up to 23 years, forfeiture. He's probably going to get some jail time, all of the things. But this is terrible, isn't it? And her husband's a lawyer too, Eddie Owosu. Hold on a second. Let's see. Edward Osefo. I don't know what kind of trouble do you think? I just wonder what their situation was. Let's look at this. Back to the Osefos, guys. Hold on a second. Let's see. I mean, look, we know this cannot be part of their storyline for the season. Let's see what's going on here. Eddie Osefo, Esquire, husband, father, attorney, serial entrepreneur. There's ma'am.
The weed industry with this new Happy Eddie line. I just got some hoodies backstage.
Yes,
Thank you very much. And maybe a little something else.
Okay, so is that what you guys were talking about? You love Happy Eddie? So Happy Eddie is where you get your where they handle the people's business. Special shout out to, okay, let's see.
Oh my God.
Oh, it's so good to see you, man. It's been so long.
Oh, hey, shit.
God, okay. Launching Happy Eddie cannabis product line. Can you guys see? Yes, okay. It's time to puff past Potomac because Real Housewives hubby is launching a line of cannabis products. Bossip can exclusively confirm that Curio Wellness is partnering with Eddie Osefo. Okay, very good. That's not a recent post, but Okay. They're a nice looking couple. They're a very nice looking couple. Very attractive looking couple. Did he tag?
Dr. Wendy's husband is blazing a trail in the weed industry with his new Happy
Okay.
Eddie line. I just got some.
Okay, you guys, tell me. Look, this is what I'm gonna say. As far as Real Housewives are concerned, or any of these franchises are concerned, I am not surprised. Nobody is above doing the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I think as much as people do the right thing out here, there's plenty of people who do the wrong thing and do the wrong thing because that's what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? People do the wrong thing, people do the right thing. Just as much as people do the wrong thing, people are out here fucking up every single day. You know what I'm saying? And they are no different. They're no different. They're no better. They might pretend that they have it all together. Clearly, they did not, because something is wrong with, you know what I'm saying? They could have a bank account full of money for all we know, but for whatever reason, they came back from Jamaica and thought it was a good idea to play with the local police department and sheriff's department and some insurance companies, which was not smart. So whatever they got going on, and they thought it was a good idea to go play with them people over there in Carroll County and file a police report and call 3 insurance companies and do whatever they did, that was not smart. That was not smart. And that's it. Yeah, I mean, they could have some money. I mean, at the end of the day, they could be doing very well, but for some reason, someone decided to do something stupid and decided to advance it and advance it and go with it and continue it. And then now you're busted. And and reputation, Bible lady, stop. You guys are so funny. Stop it. Y'all are funny. Okay. Oh my God. Yes. Stupid. Stupid. Very, very, very giving stupid, right? Okay. All right. That was a very brazen move. They were desperate. Yeah. I mean, we don't know what type of situation they could have been averting. Maybe they were low on cash. All of those things. But when people do things like this, and then you have a situation at your home and they're not, you know what I mean? If something happens to you with your insurance, like you need to file an insurance claim, they're usually cutting you a check. Like these agents, they come to your house, they have check writing authority. Like they have a check writer, or they can transfer the money to your account, or they hand you paper, right? They go out to their car, they finish writing their report, and they get out the car and they're handing you a check. We've all dealt with the insurance company before, and if you haven't, wait, and that's what you pay for. You pay for that, those expedited relief when something has happened that you need to call on them, right? But when shit like this happens, it's like you wonder why, like, why am I waiting? Why am I being interviewed? Why am I on a recorded line? Well, you're on a recorded line anyway, right? When they pulled those people's emails, they had to know something was wrong. They're not asking us for our emails on a you know what I'm saying? Like, who needs your email because you just filed an insurance claim? Can you tell me? Girl, she knew she had to know she was in trouble then. That was damn automatic. When they asked you for your email or not, maybe that it's in the paperwork that you sign, and they start investigating you, baby, it's a wrap. And then he's in there asking for more. What else do you have that we can claim? Why wouldn't you just say, "Hey, babe, call her on the," like, why are you guys creating a paper trail? Y'all. Anywho, I'm going to let you guys go. This was interesting, right? Hold on. Let's see. Yo. We're gonna keep our eyes on this. I'm sure there's more to come. They fell what they do, they fell for the okey doke. They got lost in the sauce and thought that they were gonna you know, thought they were gonna do whatever they were gonna do, and clearly that's not working. You guys, make sure to hit the thumbs up for me on your way out as you're coming in. Likes do matter. If you're new here, subscribe to this channel. We will be keeping an eye on this and many other crime stories. Can you believe it's Friday? It's feeling a little like Saturday, but I keep thinking, oh yeah, we did pick up Farrah from school and all of the things. So yes, today is a Friday. I'll be back a little bit later, but I wanted to touch on this as it was happening. So you guys keep your notifications set so that when I come back, you will be notified. I know some of you guys said that you were not notified. Your notifications did not go off. I feel like we have a throwback in our future. I got a couple of throwback requests from you guys. So let me get into my throwback bag and see what's going on. If you have a throwback in mind on some Ernest Williams, and you want to get into that on a little bit later, make sure to drop it down below or drop it in another comment. Just drop it somewhere in a comment or Instagram, drop the link so I know which one you guys are talking about. But I feel like I do already have one lined up. So we'll get into that a little bit later. Okay. So definitely I will see you guys this evening. Okay. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon. Bye, guys. Take care.